Hello everyone, this is Deepak, and this day we'll be having a talk about The Engine Trouble by R.K. Narayan. Coming to the writer, R.K. Narayan, he hardly needs any introduction. Outstandingly great South Indian writer who has been awarded with the title Padma Vibhushan, the second highest civilian award. Coming to the story, this is an extract from his The Malgudi Days. The word Malgudi is something special and peculiar. Know what? There were many people who came to South India to see if there is any place called Malgudi just because of his writings. So that famous was the place Malgudi. And this is a small extract from that thing. Coming to the story. The story is all about a narrator whose name was not mentioned in the story. The whole story takes place in the town Malgudi. One day in the Gaiety land, the Gymkhana ground, it was told to the people of the whole town that there will be an exhibition. The people from the nearby suburbs just sprung into that place not to miss even an inch of detail of that exhibition. So the town was overcrowded, and even our narrator was a part of that. So he went to pay a visit to the exhibition. The first day, the collection of the ticket collector at the gates was around 500 rupees in early 20th century. So you can imagine the price right now. And there were many stalls. Of all those stalls, there were two stalls which were drawing the attention of audience or the visitors maybe. The first stall is a huge globe in which we can see the bikes and the cars doing multiple scary deadly feats, and they call it as death well. And the next stall is a lottery stall. Our narrator was interested in this kind of thing, so he was been to the lottery stall. So he himself brought a ticket for 8 annas. Each anna is like around 16 pies this day, if I'm not wrong. So he purchased a ticket. He was told by the stall owner that there are many prizes to be won that can include a surprise bumper prize and some cameras, some groceries, some bed sheets, etc., etc., some kind of cutlery and all. So the narrator thought, why don't I go and try my luck? So he did so. It was evening, and then everyone who purchased the tickets were informed to come to the stall. So everyone came to the stall there just to check their luck, including our narrator. So the stall owner then took a glass bowl and filled it with the tokens, the remaining half of the tokens, which were given or which were sold to the customers. To everyone's surprise, the first lucky pick was none other than our narrators. And then the narrator was called onto the stage and was given a chance to pick his gift in a blindfolded way. And the narrator luckily picked the chit, and the chit was offered to the stall owner, who read the thing as the mega prize or the bumper prize. Everyone there were like, oh, this fellow is so lucky, he got the bumper prize. The narrator was like, oh my god, this prize might change my life, because the owner belongs to, the ticket owner means our narrator, he belongs to an average middle class family or a middle class family. So he thought this ticket would change my life. So he thinking so, What happened? He was just waiting. What might be the gift? Must be better than a camera because he told this as a special gift. Then the stall owner came and had pulled out the name, and that's none other than a road engine or a road roller. Everyone was just glazing at the narrator as if he's an animal. He won a road engine. What can he do with it? The narrator was even a bit puzzled and he was like, what can I do with it? No one knows how to steer it here in this town, and if I was offered this kind of gift, what can I do? Thinking of all this, he heard some kind of news from the stall owner, a small announcement. The announcement was every prize winner must collect their gifts on the very same day and take home by they themselves. So the guy who won this camera had taken it home, or the one who won the bed sheets or the blankets and all and some cutlery took them home. But how can one take this road engine home? So the narrator was like, I don't know what to do. What can I do? So the narrator then was been to the stall owner and just requested him, Sir, please give me a chance. And I'm in this pathetic, helpless situation. I can't steer this road engine all alone. And I need some help from you. Would you mind keeping this road engine safe with you till I come and collect the thing? The stall owner had some mercy, some kind of soft corner, and was like, yeah, okay. The next day, this fellow, our narrator, started to go and inquire about the people who can steer a road engine or who will buy it. In the meanwhile, the neighbors and so called as the relatives, whom the narrator had never even seen in his life or even heard of them, paid a visit to his home and were like, you know, I am a kind of great friend to you, and you know what, I helped your family that and this, just because he won huge amount of money in the form of a road engine. This fellow was thinking, now I won a road engine, and someone had told him that the road engine would cost him approximately around some 12 to 15,000 rupees, and he's like, 15,000 rupees is a huge amount of money. I can myself build a huge palace and I can stay in some kind of lavish life and all. Some other gave him advice like, I think it is really tough to find a buyer for this. The best thing would be is to sell it in scrap. Even if you cut it into pieces and sell it, you can be getting like 8 to 10,000 rupees. Then the narrator was like, what? Why should I lose 5,000 rupees? No, no, no. I will find a good buyer for this. The next day he was been to the stall just to see the road engine. He just tapped at it and just came back. This went on for a couple of days, but some kind of misfortune was on the side of our narrator. So he was unlucky in finding a driver or a pilot for the road engine. So he then went and asked the stall owner how the road engine was here. Then the stall owner had explained him, know what? The thing is, we've hired a guy from Madras. He was paid 100 rupees as a token amount and 5 rupees per day to steer the road engine, and this came from hundreds of miles. Narrator was like, 5 rupees a day? 5 rupees a day is my monthly income, including all my house rents and my foods and all the essential requirements. I'll still be saving a rupee. No, 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 I should not kill the money. So I'll find a buyer directly so that I can sell this engine and get money. So he was trying his luck. Initially, he was being to the municipal authorities, and the municipal authorities were like, sorry, we don't have any money. And then he was being to the sports authorities, and they were like, we don't need a road roller, all we need is a lawn roller. He was then thinking what to do. Suddenly, he was told that the exhibition is being moved to another place, so the narrator must come and collect his prize. The narrator was helpless and he was like, I can't do anything. So the stall owner came and said, I'm sorry, and he handed the keys to the narrator. It's now your responsibility to take care of it. The narrator thinked in a smart way and was being to the Gymkhana grounds authorities and requested them, saying that, would you mind if I park the road engine here? So finally they have come to an agreement like 10 rupees per day. Sorry, 10 rupees per month. Not a day, 10 rupees per month. The narrator was like, that's like a huge burden to me. That's almost 10 months of my saving. No problem. Even if I lose that 10 rupees or 20 rupees maybe for 2 months, when I can sell it, I can be getting in thousands. Leave this money. But the thing is, the narrator don't have any money. So he was been to his wife and had explained the whole thing and requested his wife to lend him her jewelry. The narrator's wife was like, okay, this time I will hear to you. I will hear your words. If you will ask me for any further jewelry, or if this jewelry will not be returned to me in the appropriate time, I will go to my hometown and would never even turn up. The narrator was like, this jewelry, I can buy you dozens and scores of them. This is just nothing for me. Okay, so he finally got the jewelry, and when he got this amount of jewelry and all, he had bargained this for a very low price, and he paid 3 months of rent in advance. So 30 rupees was paid to the Gymkhana ground authorities, and the 3 months tenure was even almost done. But he was not able to find any. So what happened? He was just thinking what to do. He then goes to a temple, and then the temple priest actually gives him some kind of good advice. I've seen you and your troubles and all. I think I can help you. The thing is, the temple elephant can be used in moving the road engine. But the thing is, it must be paid 7 rupees per day and must be given a feed one time every day. If you use it for 2 days, 2 feeds for 2 days. The narrator was like, yeah, okay, fine. Then the narrator was told, I think the elephant all alone cannot do this job. You even need to hire some working men. So he hired 50 people to push the road engine, and the elephant will be pulling the road engine. Now the trouble comes. The trouble is, who will steer the thing? So the narrator was just going on asking, can you please help me for all the cars passing by? Then the bus. Everyone was like, sorry, I can't. Then he went and requested the station master and thereby the locomotive pilot, who finally said, I can steer. But he told, I know how to steer a road engine, but how can I leave the train on the rails and come there? I'll be risking the lives of thousands of people. I can't do that. So the narrator was sad and was turning back home. Unfortunately, there was a driver who was dismissed because of his alcoholic nature. Fortunately, our narrator meets him. So, what happened? His name is Mr. Joseph. He's a dismissed bus driver, as I've told you. So, he'll be asking, Joseph, can you steer a road engine? I don't know. If there is an engine, if there is a wheel, I can steer. Really? I can steer, but you must take care after my liquor. Oh, come on, that's not a big trouble. So finally, he got elephant, 50 men, and I want to steer. All he needs is a place to park this engine. So he requests his friend who's got a barren land, and there he'll be thinking like, okay, I can place this road engine here for at least a few months till I can find a good buyer. So he was successful, and the date came. The next day, the elephant was connected to the road engine with huge and tough ropes, and 50 men were pushing the thing, and Joseph was on the steering. And the whole town came there just to see this kind of procession. Maybe because of this huge crowd, the elephant got raged and went in one direction and smashed a fair portion of wall of the narrator's neighbor. This drunkard thought, okay, this might be the right direction, and he went and smashed the remaining portion of the wall. Everyone was smiling, including the narrator. There came a tight slap onto his face, obviously by the house owner. And he was like, I am going to lodge a complaint on you. And there came the police. And he was thrown behind the prisons, like behind the bars, into the prisons. Finally, after making an agreement or a kind of pact with the house owner, the pact was, the wall will be rebuilt by me in a span of a month, or I will give you enough money for that. So the narrator was free, and the narrator was thinking what to do with this kind of things and all. He then thought, let me go to a bigger place and find a buyer. But if I will escape from here, the people might think I ran away. No, what to do? And my wife will be questioned about all these things. So he wants to get rid of his wife. So what he does is, he says, can you please give me some more money? His wife warns him, if you'll ask me for any more jewelry or some kind of money, I won't. I won't stay here. Really? The narrator takes this as an advantage and was like, please give me some more money. Then his wife will be like, I'm done. I'll be leaving to my hometown. This fellow escorts him, this fellow actually escorts her to go there. And he'll be going there and dropping her. In the later part, he thinks, this night I'll sleep happily, and maybe in the next day, either early in the morning or late in the night, I'll leave the town and find someone who can buy this road engine. So he goes there and finds someone. Then what happens? This was all his dream. Next day in the morning, there came a monk, a Swamiji, who's saying that I can do many magical things which are like almost impossible for any human to do. So he started biting sharp metal nails, drinking and gargling the concentrated acids, was even buried and woke up after 5 minutes. He even demonstrated an impossible feat, like he stopped his heart for a few minutes and again made it to work. Everyone was shocked. He then told, I'll be performing a final feat of mine. And the thing is, I let a road engine run over my chest. So he had ordered his disciple, like, uh, this will be the path, and the road engine must come on this way, and the hind wheels must stop on my chest for a minute and then get down. But the municipality were like, sorry sir, we don't have any road engine. This was all noticed by the narrator. He just laughs and says, I have the road engine, but the thing is, uh, I don't have the one to steer it. Can you do it by you yourself, or do you have any assistants who can steer? The monk just laughs at him and says, that's easy. My disciples, with my power and energy, can do all these feats with ease. So then the narrator thinks, I am helping him. Why can't I ask some kind of help from him, maybe? To he can't give me any money. He's a monk. He's helpless. Maybe if he can drive this engine till my friend's place, that would be of a great help. So the disciple of the monk had finally accepted for this kind of thing. And he then says, okay, after the feat is performed, I will park the road engine at your friend's place. So the road engine almost approached the monk, where the engine was stopped by the police. The police told that the district magistrate has ordered that this feat must be stopped at any cost. The monk was like, who are you? The guards were like, we are police and we had to follow the orders. And he was like, that's nothing, like this is a feat what I've performed for quite many times and nothing will happen to me. Sorry sir, we can't do any kind of thing because this is an order to us. We can't do anything. We are helpless. The monk got frustrated and he was shown an order. The order reads in this way. No one is eligible to perform two tasks. The first is the road engine one and the next one is the sodium and some kind of cyanide thing, some sodium cyanide. This can't be done. So he was like, okay, you stopped me. I'm now unhappy. So the monk got raised by this kind of thing and he curses the place and leaves. The huge gathering was like, oh, upset. We've thought that this great feat will happen and all, but nothing happened. That night, maybe because of the monk's curse or something, there came an earthquake, a bad calamity. Almost the whole town was disturbed, including the narrators. Next day in the morning, everyone were rushing towards a place. That place was none other than the place where the road engine was parked. And the narrator had heard this thing. The road engine is missing. What? Road engine is missing. What happened to that? Who can take the road engine? Maybe this earthquake might have moved the road engine. So everyone were in the search of it. Then came his neighbor, who was to be repaid by the narrator. Like, who was to be repaid by the narrator. He told, this is too bad, this is unfair, Mr. Narrator. Your road engine had completely destroyed my well and fell into it. It is so apt like a kind of a cork fitting into a bottle. The narrator was like, I am done. I am now again thrown into some kind of bad circumstances. How can I save myself? So he then pleads and thinks like, I don't need any prize money, I just need some kind of relief. To his good fortune, the neighbor says, You know what? This is actually a spoiled well. And the government had ordered me to close the well, but I was running out of money and all, and I was scared of the amount of money like it's required to close it. So my request is, please leave the road engine there, and it will be of a great help to me and all. Narrator then thinks, this is the right time for me, I can happily ask what all my demands are. And he then says, you told me that I should be constructing the wall. No, I will. Uh, okay, but the thing is, I've purchased the lottery ticket, my wife's jewels are with the moneylender. I need to pay for the temple elephant, even its knee is completely injured. Uh, I need to pay for 50 people, and I've even paid the rent. And the neighbor says, I will pay you each and every anna of years. Please leave the road engine there. Then the narrator says all the expenses, and if he sees to it that he'll be getting a little bit of profit. So after he gets a profit, he'll be going to his wife's place and gets her back. While he was on his way home, he'll be seeing that the road engine is completely cemented, and this was the trouble given by the engine to the narrator. So this is the end of the story, the engine trouble. Thank you very much.